So Mo has teased us by telling us that when he was in Thailand, a complete stranger comes up to him and offers cash for your woman.
That's exactly what happened. And it's funny how it happened because I was literally just having a conversation with my lady where we were sitting in like this. We go out and we're at this really nice restaurant and this live band and we're just having a good time. And she asked me, she was like, do you ever think like that trouble just seems to follow you somehow? And this is like right before this happens. And I was like, it's funny you say that because that's been a thing my entire life. Like, I don't know what it is, but I always make a joke that I'm like the best in the world at minding my business. Like, I stay to myself. I stay in my lane. I don't bother anybody. But for some reason, the universe just not appreciate that.
You're being tested, man.
I'm being tested all the time. And I kind of felt this coming. It was almost like I saw it play out, even though it just seemed so surreal. Because these guys, it's like a group of 4 guys. And I see them walk in. And in order for them to get to their section, which they clearly had like the best section in this place, it was pretty obvious that they had spent some money to have a good time.
So it's like VIP of VIP.
VIP of VIP, exactly. And so they have to walk past our section to get to their section. It was something about the way that this guy looked at my lady and then looked at me. But I didn't think too much of it. I just thought like, okay, he thinks that she's attractive. And he probably sized himself up with me. Men do it all the time, right? Cool. But I noticed it, right? So we go, then they send drinks over to the table.
For you and her?
That was the thing. It was just like they just dropped off. It was like a bottle and it was just like a bottle of champagne. And it was like from this. So I don't know these men. I don't know what what message this is supposed to send. But I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you.
You know, this isn't uncommon. Like it happens in like Vegas. If there are people that are hanging out in VIP, they will send the bottle on over. But I don't know that I've ever seen it sent to a couple.
Yeah, well, yeah, for like throuple situations.
Right. So,
because Cassie and I, remember that couple that came up to us when we were in Vegas for one of the Billboard Music Awards? We were at that sushi joint in the restaurant before we were going to go see Britney Spears. And that man and woman came over and sat with us.
Yes.
And it was very apparent that they were fishing for a little something extra. Like they were in Vegas to play and not the slots.
They were there to play the sluts. So, is there a part of you that's like afraid to drink the champagne? Because you're like, what does it mean are we accepting if we drink it?
Oh, yeah. Is that your way of nodding me like, hey, we're into this?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't drink the champagne. I didn't. It wasn't that I was afraid. I just was like, yeah, whatever this is, I don't want any part of it. So I just said thank you politely and kept going about my night. What made it even more odd was when they went to leave, they like walked past us and they weren't necessarily close enough to us for me to say like thank you or anything, but they were close enough to kind of look. And he still had this stare, like he was just locked in. And so I looked at her. I'm like, you feel the way this dude is looking at you? And she's like, nah, I don't feel it. But I know she did.
Yeah, right.
But it was like, okay. So then they walk out, not a wave, not a hello, nothing. That was it. I'm thinking, okay, that was very odd. I'm thinking that's where the story ends. So now when we go to leave, the way that this, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's called Bangola Street. And it's like, it's a walking street. It's a strip and it's just bar on top of bar. And it's just like a party strip and everybody's just having a good time. And sure enough, we go to leave. And so we're walking towards the end of it. And it's just me and my lady. We're pushing through the crowd and I see the guy. And it's very clear at this point. I don't know what happened between him buying us that bottle and then between then and now. But now he's like, he can barely walk straight. He seems to be so intoxicated. And it's 4 of them. 2 of them seem really drunk. 2 of them seem kind of like, okay. So then he starts approaching us. So in my head, I'm like, he's definitely walking towards us right now. And he makes a beeline. And so I grab her and I try to position her to be on the other side of me because he's coming from my left side. So I positioned for her to be on my right side, like behind me.
Good call. You want to be in between the 2 of them.
Right. So then he comes to me and he goes, hey, can I talk to you? Or something like that. Can I holler at you? Something like that. And so then at first I'm like apprehensive about it. I'm like, what's up? So then he tries to like grab my neck. And then that's when it went from like, okay, we just having a conversation to what is going on here. So when he tries to grab my neck, I remove his hand and I'm like, you can talk, but don't touch me. Like, I don't know who you are. Like, don't touch me. So then he goes, okay. But he's clearly like, he's so drunk. But he's like, okay. I'm sorry. I won't touch you. So then he's just like standing there. So I'm like, what do you want? What's like?
Yeah. You came over here to us.
Yeah, like what? Get to it. What's happening here? So then he goes, it's as if he's looking at me in a way where he's trying to figure out how to say it. And then so I'm standing there, and then before he says anything, he like reaches his hand out to try to touch my lady's arm. So now I'm starting to think somebody pulling a prank on me. So then
You swatted away?
I swat his arm again. Like, what are you doing, man?
This is an awful situation unfolding because you're in another country also. And the last thing in the world you want to do is get into any kind of problem at all.
Anything.
Where it can get out of hand. And it's very different when you're a local and you get into a fight versus being a tourist. So you're in all sorts of danger right now.
Man, all of this is running through my head because if I get arrested and I got to go to jail, my lady's out here alone. I'm thinking about all of this, but I can't let anything happen to her. I'm like, what? I don't know how to handle it. So I'm in the middle of it, and then he goes, all right, how much? Just like that. So I said, what?
You said, how much for me to beat your ass?
That's what
Is that what you're asking?
Because it's on the house. In a minute, it's about to be very free. So he goes, can you come? I'm not going to touch you. But just can you come I'm like, I'm not coming any closer. I can't let you get any closer to me. You already in, it's uncomfortable how close you are now. But I guess he didn't want to say it.
Out loud.
So then I kind of motioned, because she was like in the mix. And in my head, now the other two guys are like coming towards us. And so now I'm making sure I'm not surrounded. I got my back to like the wall so that no one can be behind me. And I'm telling her, I'm like, just give me 20 feet. And she's like, no, I'm standing right next to you. And I'm like, you cannot do that. I don't know what I'm about to have to do. So she backs up a little bit, and then he like, now he gets a little closer to me, and he goes, is she yours or is she of the night?
Well, it is Thailand, and that happens quite a bit.
That's his. So I at that point, I don't know if this dude is genuine or if I don't know what. So I was like, fam, that's practically my wife. And I think you should walk away. Like you should walk away.
You've crossed so many lines at this point.
Walk away. And so at that point, his friend tries to like grab him because he can see the sincerity in my face. And then he goes, no.
Oh, no.
How much?
Oh, no.
So now he's getting louder.
Oh, no.
So then now I look and she pulls her phone out, I guess to record it for safety reasons or whatever the case. So then the dude, at this point, he's starting to make a scene. So I'm out. So I grab my lady's hand. We start walking the other way. This man follows me.
No.
When I say follow me, I mean a good 1 to 2 minutes of following me. So at this point, I'm running away, trying to not get into anything with this guy because I know it's not going to be good for me.
Dude, the restraint you had to have not to just punch him right in his face.
The restraint I've had to have the last few years. Man. So
maybe that's always testing you.
Patience.
For this moment.
Maybe, right? So I'm turning around. I'm like, there's no way this guy's really following. He's following me. His friend is trying to grab him. He's breaking away. So at this point, I'm like, let's cross the street. We cross the street. He crosses the street with me. That point, it's really nowhere for me to go. So I stopped and I'm like, I looked at my lady. I was like, I might have to do what I have to do. I never wanted you to see me in this light, but this man is leaving me no choice. So then she's like, no, let's just leave. I'm like, we're trying to leave. I'm not going to run from this guy all night. So when he crosses the street, he gets aggressive with me again. So this time he gets so close to me that I have to push him. I don't have a choice. So I push him a little harder than I wanted to the point where he falls into his other friend. So at that point, this is the first time I've been in Thailand at this point, maybe 6 or 7 days. This is the first time I've seen a police officer. I've not seen one, which I didn't even think about, but I hadn't seen one. I don't even know where they came from. They came out of nowhere. So as soon as I saw the police officer, I was like, all right, I done put my hands on this man. I don't even know how I'm going to explain this. I'm done for. The police officer comes out, looks at me and goes, I'm sorry. And I was in shock. Because he must have saw the whole thing. So he grabs the other guy and he tells him, if you don't go that way, we're going to have to do something about it, whatever the case. And then the guy finally gets it. And he walks away and they start going the other way. So at that point, one of the officers just went the other way. The other officer came up to me and said, I'm like, it was broken English, but I understood it. He said, guys like that with all of that money think they can do whatever they want. And then I said, when you say all that money, What we talking? He said, "Oh man, you don't know who that is?" I said, "Nah, I don't know these guys at all." He said, "Oh, those guys are loaded, man. You're talking to like millions and millions." So then I wasn't sure if I made the right decision.
Maurice Mitchell.
I was actually thinking the same thing. So me and my girl are a little quirky. We're a little on the strange side. So if this happened to us in Thailand,
Oh, she so would have played along.
the way I'm playing it out in my head is I listen to this dude and then I whisper in her ear, clearly this isn't going to happen, but can we at least play out what the offer is? Like what he thinks you're worth before we get offended by it. Because I think there would be 10% of her that would be complimented by it, that she's so hot.
I was about to say, like, if I'm your lady, I'm thinking there are two grown men fighting over me. Like that, I'm taking that as a that's a win for me.
Well, but first he was like, your girlfriend or lady of the night. So I've been accused of being a hooker, hopefully a high-end hooker, because he has so much money. And I'm sure he has some kind of like, some kind of taste when it comes to women like that.
Are you just a little curious on how much he would have paid?
A lot of curious. Yeah. Honestly, if his approach were different, if it wasn't so aggressive and volatile, that probably would have played out very differently.
Dude.
Because I would always wonder. And she was like, was there a number he could have threw you? 10 million. I mean, we would have had to have a conversation.
So, as your girlfriend, I would have been so turned on by your actions.
Oh, same.
So we get in the tuk-tuk to go home, and I literally and genuinely like embarrassed by how aggressive I had to get. So I was like, I'm sorry about that. And she was like, sorry.
I know.
The Bert Show.